And so, as a follow-up, in traditional society, in certain tribes, the two-spirit person was actually an asset, or was part of society, part of it.
Yeah, I've heard that it's when a child is born, they get a name, and then the best name you could get was from a two-spirit, because they're the ones that kind of see what's going on with the kid, you know. And then when you become an adult, or you go for the naming ceremony, you get a name that's more attributed to your personal, you know, being. But so two-spirits were very, very, and that was the main reason why the Christians said, oh, well, don't you see that they're living in covenant with the devil because they accept these gay people? And that was their whole reason for taking the Sioux culture and saying it's worthless because, look, it allowed, you know, so a lot of the homophobia is Christian. It has nothing to do with Indians or, you know, Indian people, or it's just like we deal with so much of that, and the whole Christian way is about you're either right and good or you're bad, or, you know, there's no, you know, forgiveness. I don't know.
For me, I think that I learned about the two-spirit identity from books, actually, in college. And I went to the web also, like Kevin did, and there wasn't very much there. I think there's a lot more now. I grew up in Colorado and then in New Jersey, so all in very white towns. And people would always say to me, you know, the towns were so white that I even, like, people were like, oh, what are you? You know? So I've always had to explain myself that way. And I was really excited when I learned that there was this tradition. And I really want to acknowledge Native American religion was not legal in this country until 1978, which was 28 years ago. And people have fought and died to keep these traditions alive. Kevin, Harlan, and I went to the Tulsa Two-Spirit gathering in 2005, and there was a Cree elder there, and he did a Two-Spirit ceremony with us that he said hadn't been done in 200 years, but yet it had still been passed down in secret. And I'm just so grateful for people to hold on to that and keep that alive for us today. And he said that he wanted to teach it to us because he had seen the pain of his gay grandchildren and wanted to offer them something for healing. And as people were saying, you know, I think the Two-Spirit tradition was violently repressed. It was one of the most the aspect of Native spirituality that people really, they had, Spanish had dogs, you know, chewing on people, and in the boarding schools, they would dress little boys up as girls, they'd humiliate them. I just wanted to quote from Randy Burns and Barbara Cameron, which founded I think it was the first Native group in 1975. San Francisco. Yeah, they said that their group was a search for Indian pride and a mediation between tradition and change. And I think that's really important because Native cultures are not static. It's not like something that, you know, it's alive. There are people here today. We are have different experiences. We live in a city. We're from the reservation, and I see Two-Spirit as part of an evolution and a reflection of more of the pan-tribal movement and getting us talking to each other, all different nations up here. So
these questions that are being asked are not questions to which there are answers, and it's something that we discuss amongst ourselves all the time, sometimes rather passionately. It can get kind of heated sometimes, which is good. You know, I think it's in discovering identity, it's painful. What's a blessing about that is that we can do it together, and that we can come into a room and we can argue about some of these things and sometimes not always agree. I really want to acknowledge what Melissa just said because, and again, not to insult to be attacking the Christian people here, but there were two things that the Catholic Church in particular, targeted immediately when they came to our hemisphere. And that was the role of women in our cultures and the two-spirit role, which was, like we said, a generic term we're just going to use out of simplicity at this point. And those early, I don't know if you've seen those early graphics of Columbus. He was the first one to actually feed the two-spirit people from the Caribbean islands to dogs. And there are actually graphics of it. It's not often told that that's who they are. But the other thing was that the church attacked, for instance, here even in New York State, the Iroquois people from upstate have a very strong tradition of women in government. In fact, it's the women who elect all of the chiefs. And the Christians saw that, the Christian men, and I was like, well, we have to put an end to this right away before someone, you know, tries to copy that. Nature itself is diverse. And we as indigenous Indian people know that without that diversity, this planet will end. I was so grateful tonight when I walked outside, because I stayed home today, and it was cold for the first time this year. It's the end of freaking November. That's not right. You know, everyone's happy. I keep watching the news and they're like, oh, fabulous, it's going to be 70 in November. You know, that means the world's coming to an end. Because we have removed that diversity from nature itself. And when that diversity is removed, when there are no polar ice caps, you know, we're screwing with the planet. And the same is true about our people as Two-Spirit or Wing-Tay or whatever you want to call us. We are a part of that balance. And white Christian culture, and a lot of others, it's not just white people, non-Indian culture, doesn't always recognize that we do have a role to play. And I think one of the great things about our cultures always was that as Indian people, we all had responsibilities to our community and our extensive family.
Talk about some of the challenges in, you know, maintaining this LGBT identity, the two-spirit identity, your native culture as well. If anyone wants to jump into that, well.
I had no exposure to what really, you know, all I saw was the, you know, the Sissy Indian. And he was mixed though, he was the Sissy Choctaw. And, but I also wonder too, what, you know, way back when what the Two-Spirit would have been like that didn't have the role of a healer, a mediator, the medicine person. You know, maybe that's me, maybe that's, you know, maybe I'm the person that would have been the lazy Two-Spirit that said, no, I'm not going to work today, I'm just going to do this or that, I can do what I want, you know, but still be Two-Spirited. So, you know, that, so for me, I don't know, maybe I would have been that, you know, that type of Two-Spirit, so to speak. I don't really know, but in Choctaw, you know, I've heard some people call it Oyahoba, which means woman and man. But, you know, for me, it actually, I feel very similar to Ken. I don't identify as being gay, but I say, yeah, I'm gay, but, you know, it's not like, yeah, gay, you know, it's more or less like I'm gay because that's how, you know, people identify. It's the label. It's the typical label. And so, but, you know, I wonder, you know, if I were to be back in time like 300 years ago, what I would be, you know, who I would be. And
I don't think people would be asking us. I don't think it would be a question in our cultures and in our tribal cultures. I don't think anybody would say, you know, who do you identify? We would just be known. Your actions would show who you are as a people. Sorry, brother.